Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Ben Potter. I'm a certified SOLIDWORKS expert with Concepts in Production. And today we're going to be talking about what's new in SOLIDWORKS 2018 collaboration. So the collaboration is the products like Visualize, Inspection, PDM, Treehouse, eDrawings, the products that can come with or be added onto SOLIDWORKS to really improve and increase productivity in specific applications. And the main thing these products allow is for delivering your design. So with these like PDM, you can control your products to make sure that everything is auditable or has ECN trails. Also make sure that the revisions and everything is getting out the door. And then other things like eDrawings allows you to send your models and your drawings to people that may not have SOLIDWORKS, but they can get eDrawings and then they can see your models and stuff without having any of the proprietary features that you've created. So they can't reverse engineer your part. So that's what we're going to focus on here, delivering great design. We're going to start with PDM. Like I said, PDM have all the control over your documents so that you ensure everything that leaves the door, whether it's the model or the 2D drawing, or even just Excel sheets and Word documents are all controlled, and that allows you to make sure that everything is up to date. So in 2018, we now have detailed warning messages. So currently when we have a part or something within PDMs and we need to transition it or change the workflow, if something goes wrong, we just receive an error and we couldn't do it. But now in 2018, that error message comes with more detail, explaining what prereqs were not met or why the transition failed. There's also a new undo button in the data card editor. If you've ever worked with Access databases, the form creation, it's very similar, and having an undo button is always nice. Next, we have enhanced permission control. The biggest one is that the admin can now set certain users to have permission to check back in or undo checkout of other users. So if you have a power user, you can give them that capability so that they can go out and get the parts or assemblies that they need to be working on that maybe someone forgot to check in. Now, a new feature with PDM is the design, branch, and merge. And so this really allows you to explore new ideas, because what you can do is take a part, especially from an assembly, and you create these branches. And what these branches are is it just duplicates the geometry, but it breaks all the references to the assembly. Now the assembly is still intact and the original part file is still there. This branch is a separate file that just doesn't have any of the references, but SOLIDWORKS remembers everything behind the scene. So you create those ECN trails and the auditable capabilities. And you can take that branch and do whatever you want with it. And if you like the result better than the original, you can then merge it back into the assembly just simply by right-clicking on the part and saying merge. And SOLIDWORKS PDM with all the behind-the-scenes connectivity will just override the geometry. So it's very easy to do. I'm going to show it off in just a second. And then with the external vendors, it's very nice with them, because if you have an external vendor or supplier that maybe has variations of a part, you can bring them all in, have sort of a dummy main file, and then the branches can be all the external vendor part that you can look at, and then once you decide, go ahead and just merge that back in. We have our PDM here. So we have my two branches here. So this is the original file that is still referenced in the assembly. And I branched it out and I've changed the geometry. Now we can branch either straight from the part, as we see here, there's branch, or if maybe your file structure is a little different, or your folder structure where you have your assembly isn't with the part, or you have a very large assembly where finding the individual part could take a little bit, we can branch from the assemblies. So we'll go into branch and give it a name. We'll add a suffix. You can add a suffix, a prefix. You can replace the name if you want, just whatever we need. And then select the part from the assembly that we need to branch out, and we'll branch it. And then refresh, and now we have the branch. And as you can see, it's based just right off the original, because that's what we've done. We can now go in and affect this, change it, whatever we need. Now, let's say that we like branch 2 better than any of the other options. So right click and merge, and SOLIDWORKS PDM knows everything. It knows what's going on, so we just have to say merge, and it now overrides. It checks it out for us and then puts the branch 2 over it. So we'll go here and open our assembly, because once it opens, it will do the rebuild for us. There we go, our cushion has been updated, real fast, real easy. And what this really allows us to do is get away from error-prone copy and change and overwrite type things, where you take a file, you save it as a different name, and then we work on it, and then we have to replace the existing one or overwrite it. Maybe things get corrupt, get lost, references get broken. Now with this, PDM controls it all, so you don't have to worry about playing around with new ideas and risking anything happening with the assembly. Now the next improvement is revision table integration, and this is a bi-directional communication between the revision table and PDM. So I can open up my drawing and mess with the revision. I can add revision triangles or revision clouds, and then PDM can control the revision level, so what revision I'm on, the date, and the who's approved it. Getting back into SOLIDWORKS, we'll open up the drawing and take a look at this. So this is real useful when you need to have everything really tight and consistent, because now I don't have to worry about my revision table being out of date because PDM controls it. And you see we have an asterisk here, so this is letting us know, and we can change that symbol within the PDM admin tool, but we've gone ahead and selected the asterisk or the star to denote that PDM is in control of this. So we'll come in here and we'll just say we updated our cushion, and then we need to go ahead and check this in, and then I'll give it an admin approval, and that will transition it. We'll see the revision table populate. So there we go, Rev C, and then admin approved. That bi-directional communication allows you to have the confidence that your revision tables are the exact same as the PDM. That way we know that everything is consistent when we send something out the door. Next is SOLIDWORKS Manage. Now, SOLIDWORKS Manage is built on top of PDM, and it is a data management, project management tool, and it really allows you to have these timelines, resource charts, Gantt charts, interactive dashboards, reports generation, things of that nature. And you can get project management, process management, item bill of material management, all of these things with the power of PDM. And a lot of it can be automated and added right into your workflows. So as things transition or change work states, then Manage updates and keeps everything right where it needs to be, letting managers know exactly where projects and how they're progressing. Now we're going to talk about e-drawings. We can now save decals onto a part, the actual file itself. Instead of having to have it on the computer and then kind of referencing it, we can save the decals directly to our part. We can also save appearances and scene data. Now this option is found in the document properties of the part, and it makes the file a little bigger, but we don't have to send the decal file with the part anymore. And then the UI has seen some improvements. There's now a quick access toolbar, so open, save, print, and settings. Open progress indicator wheel, so we know how they're progressing and opening. And then a markup indicator, letting us either add comments or know that comments have been added. Increased performance, there's graphics boost with fastest speed or best appearance, depending on what you need. eDrawings has been a little more optimized for larger assemblies and things of that nature. And then we can now have configurations for a part saved into a single eDrawings, as well as create step attachments for those configurations. And so we'll actually get into eDrawings, just kind of show off this stuff a little bit. Here's my part with all of the PMI information, and there's the configurations tab. All of my configurations are here that I can click through and access with ease. The markup, so if I needed to add a comment, I could. The quick access toolbar at the top, and then the attachments, we can view them or extract them depending on what we need. You can kind of think of the attachments like zipping all the configurations into a single file, but we're just going to go ahead and view this one. And all the PMI information is here, as well as the cross-highlighting capabilities. So we can send this to a customer, and we don't have to worry about them, getting the feature tree or any of that information. It's just the model and the cross-highlighting. So eDrawings has now been, improved to really show a better performance with smart manufacturing. Next, we're going to look at Treehouse. Now, this is a little known or kind of underused application. It doesn't take a seat of SOLIDWORKS. So a non-CAD manager or a non-CAD user that needs to be involved can use this without taking up a seat. And what it is, it allows you to take assemblies and break them down into these structures. And in 2018, there's an easier on-screen navigation, especially for large assemblies, more capabilities with printing, print previews, kind of what you want to print. And then we can also hide and suppress documents as need be. And then the biggest improvement is the list form, which is very similar to Excel. So getting over to our treehouse, we already have the assembly open, and we now have the zoom to area, so I can zoom right into here, zoom to fit, and then you have the normal zoom in with the mouse wheel, things of that nature. So it's very easy to get around a large assembly. If an assembly has suppressed items, we can choose whether to display those or not. That's new in 2018. And then the new enhancement to it is this list view. So it's very similar to Excel. I can grab these columns, I can move them around, I can do as I would with Excel, but these are the custom properties within the part. I can come in and add what I need right here without actually having to go in and open it. And that's the advantage of maybe you have non-CAD users that could do this, and so it frees up the engineer to continue to create the models and not have to go in and update all of the custom properties. I can also come over here and change the quantity of our shock. And then once all that's done, I exit out, and we see that the shock is now at 4, and if we went in and looked at the custom property of that 1, it would have updated. Again, Treehouse doesn't take a CS SOLIDWORKS up. It's very nice to see your assembly laid out this way. The new list, it's very easy to kind of mess with the custom properties. So as you see, more tools to help the user create large assemblies. So now we're going to look at inspection standalone. So this works directly with native 2D drawing formats, DWG, Treehouse, and we can capture the drawing characteristics even faster with the new Smart Extract. And this reduces the risk of mistakes because we have automatic balloon based off of classification, which you create a template, and that template can control a lot of different aspects of our inspection. And then we can generate our first article inspection reports really quickly. So we'll get over into inspection and take a look at the 2D side of it. So I have my template made. We just navigate to our part. So you see this is a DWG. It's not a native SOLIDWORKS, and we'll go ahead and open it up. And inspection also has the capability to do this extracting of information and tolerancing also on things like PDFs. So here I can select, I can box select, and grab all of this information really fast. And it adds it to this table down here. And we can see we have the method, so CMM or an articulating arm. And now these are fully rearrangeable, so I can drag any of these around. But so I got 14 and then 17. Let's grab 14, move it down. So now it's 16, 17, like that. And then we'll come up here and take a look at the automatic ballooning. This may be a critical. And so just by changing that to critical over here in our inspection properties, it automatically updates our balloon because it was set in our template. So we'll set this one as well. And then this one, is just probably saves a little bit of weight, so we can set that to minor and show that the balloon also changes to that. We'll come over to here, and this side we need to have a different numbering scheme. So we've already set within the template the different schemes, and we're going to use our sequence one. Now just grabbing my Smart Extract, I can select these and drag a box over, and now they are all updated and they are using the new numbering sequence. Really powerful just to grab the stuff off this drawing and into our information down here. Now we can create our article report, just Excel. Now we can select what template we want. Now currently it'll make all of these. We don't need all of that, so we'll just quickly unselect these and grab our 2D one. And we can include snapshots. So I'll grab one for the model, and then I'm gonna grab one kind of down here of this smaller drawings. And it's gonna let you know that it's about to take a screenshot of what's ever in the display area. Now the export takes a little bit of time, so I've already done it. So we have here is the custom snapshot. We have the full out drawing, and then we have our form that was created, as well as other aspects of the first article inspection report. And all this was created when we hit this export button, so it allows for very rapid creation of these reports. And there's the 2D, so DWG, DXF, CATIA, V5, and Creo. And then we can also do this with 3D information. So if we have MBD or DIM Expert models, we can create the same thing but with a 3D model. So going back to inspection, we'll create a new one using our same template with this part. So we've saved our view within SOLIDWORKS, and we now have our part. And so we do the same thing, just grab our Smart Extract. We're just gonna box select everything, and we can rearrange. We've got all the methods. If we want to change any balloons, we could. But the biggest thing is this import revision CAD file. So need to save it. And then we select our Rev 2, and you can do this manually or automated. So depending on the level of control you need or what you've set up, we're going to do automated. And so now we see that these will change, and then the red will be removed. So we know exactly what items, what dimensions, tolerances are being changed, and what ones are actually being removed based upon our revision. And then we can take a look at it, and we see everything's still ballooned, and we now have our revision is overriding the original. So very quick and easy to do, and that's one of the big things with 2018. And you can do this with Creo and Cat V5. And then finally, we're going to look at Visualize. So Visualize is realistic renders, and now in 2018 we can bring in more SOLIDWORKS assets. So camera views, appearances, decals, we can bring those in so we don't have to do a lot of rework. There's been a refreshed interface. A lot of things, they've kind of gone to a tabbed and sub-tabbed look, and they made things a little bigger for touch capable devices. New area lighting allows you to place lights very quickly, rapidly, and then they've stepped into the virtual reality world, which is becoming increasingly more popular and prevalent within the 3D modeling space. So as I mentioned, decals, we can now import all SOLIDWORKS decals into, and there's no more rework or having to reapply within Visualize because they can all be brought in. Getting into Visualize, we'll open up this. Now when this opens, we'll see the import screen, and it's where you get to select what you want to bring in. So we can bring in appearances, camera views, scenes, or decals. And this allows us to really, pick and choose exactly what we want to bring in from SOLIDWORKS if we've done a lot of the work over there. So we'll give it a second as it brings this part in. And this part might be a little slow because of the render times. So here we have the new interface. So we've got these nice, large tabs at the top that we can click through. We've got our camera views that came, from SOLIDWORKS. Zoom in here, and we've got full capabilities with these views, so we can enable depth of field, pick an area that we want to have, and it'll, render it out. We could change, the perspective if we wanted to, things of that nature. Over here we have lighting that came over, so we can mess with these if need be. Also, we do have the capability to mess with our environment, so I can make the overall brightness a little brighter, which is nice, kind of the ambient brightness. The user interface can now be set to a light or a dark theme. Very nice, in my opinion, especially if you're working kind of in a darkened room or late at night, setting it to the dark or the light as need be. And then the appearances in Visualize, we now has all the SOLIDWORKS appearances, and it's laid out to look just like SOLIDWORKS with the preview orbs. So we come to our metal, and we'll do nickel. And so we've got the preview orbs here. I'm going to grab the matte nickel and add it to the tree. And so it's very similar. So if you've messed with appearances within SOLIDWORKS, then it'll be real easy to transition over here into Visualize. So as that finishes, we're going to add a high gloss blue to our cups, so they really kind of pop. New to Visualize 2018 is the capability of having all of the views. So we have our left view, right view, back, all of these isometric. We can lock the view if we need to. And ISO actually has ISO on all 4 top corners. And we can pan, zoom to fit as well. So this is real nice in getting quickly around the model to see different angles. So we'll come to our lighting here and take a look at the new lighting capabilities. So I just simply go to the plus sign, new lighting, and then pick a target. We'll make it visible so we can see it here. And now we can do a plane, you can do a point, sphere, disc, tube, you can have a directional, even spotlight. We're gonna do a tube, and it's kind of a big tube, so let's go ahead and we'll make it a little smaller. And then we can come over here and we can move it around. Wherever we want to put it, we can get it right where we think it's good. And then we can also mess with its position. Right there looks pretty good. Created this light and moved it around very, very fast, so we can get exactly where we want. And we can also affect color or brightness if we need to tweak those. Now, the nice thing about this lighting capability is if we zoom in, we can actually go back to that light and pick a new target. So I can move it down to the bottom here and render it in, and I can come over here and move it over here. And so this allows you to place a light and then very rapidly move that light around so that you can get the perfect angle or try out different views without having to create all this other lights and maybe turn lights on and off. So it's very nice, very easy. And those are improvements with Visualize. So now virtual reality. We have 360 panoramas with animated panoramas. And it's completely one-to-one scale. We can create these in, and they work on any device, even from the most expensive down to the $15 Google Cardboard. And so you can really make these scenes or these models and render them out in VR so that we could send these to a customer or to our management, and they could look at these as if they had them right there, or were even inside these designs, without ever having to take any time to actually prototype or build anything. And so that's kind of where VR is really moving us to. And I have an example here for us. So this was done in Visualize, and this is a animated luxury airplane. So we can see the animation of the sun, and we can just move around and see everything. So that's pretty cool. And you can find that on YouTube pretty easily. This just reduces the physical prototyping necessary, and that's what Visualize is all about, as well as making hyper-realistic images and scenes that you could use for marketing. And so these are all the great ways that SOLIDWORKS has brought into 2018 for you to deliver your great designs. The collaborative software that works hand in hand with the main CAD software to make things a lot easier. Thank you guys for coming and attending our webinar.